I wasn't at the crime scene. I wasn't the shooter. But I was just as responsible for that life being taken. And I live with that every day. I was 18 years old, going to school, and met an older man, 36 years old. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know how to socialize or interact with other people. Started sniffing a little cocaine and LSD, did a little heroin. And I think that was more to numb myself from the life that I was living. My mom has been living with me for 2 years. And my mom has said, don't tell anybody about it. You can go and live your life and get married and have kids, and no one will ever have to know. And I just felt like that would be the wrong thing to do. I want people to know.
All of these days are over.
I'm formerly incarcerated. I spent 22 and a half years in prison. That was a large part of my life. The night that the crime happened, my boyfriend had come to me and told me what my role was going to be. I was to go out into the streets and stop a car, and they would be waiting to rob him. But reassured me that no one was going to be hurt, convinced me that my role was minimal. Car stopped and asked me, are you working? And I said yes. And he said, how much for oral sex? And I think I said $10. And he was like, great, get in. I felt this feeling in my stomach, like something was wrong. I wanted to say, don't go in, but I didn't. As soon as he parked, my co-defendants were there and pulled me out of the car, and I ran. Later learned that he was shot and then died 3 days later. I was scared. I was hearing what would happen, and I knew that was me. I knew that was us. And so the next day is when I went with the police. I turned myself in because I didn't kill anyone. I didn't shoot anyone. I didn't think, I was in a lot of trouble. I thought, okay, I'll tell them what happened and they'll understand. I was sentenced to 17 years to life. Felt alone, totally alone. When I think about my life before prison, the drugs, abusive boyfriend, dropped out of high school, there wasn't going to be a happy ending. I don't think I would have survived if I didn't go to prison. The destruction would have continued. While in prison, I earned a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and a master's degree in literature. I raised a dog there to become a guiding eye for the blind. So it allowed me to love and be loved, be needed, and to need.
Exodus is that place to say, you know what, I did, as Diana would say, 22 and a half years, but I'm not that person. I'm not 22 and a half years. I'm not the worst moment of my life.
We don't want to commit crimes. We don't want to go back to prison. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here and for being part of this and for wanting to learn more about Exodus. We work with men and women who are coming home from prison. We think going home is going to be great, that promised land. We've been thinking about it, we've been dreaming about it. But coming home is still not that easy. And my whole history was in prison. From 18 to 41, that's all I knew. I've been home 4.5 years, and there's still those struggles. There's the conflicts with the families. They're still trying to get the job and keep the job. Knowing somebody who's going to help you through that so that we don't commit crimes again, so that we don't go back on the streets, so that we're not hanging out with the same people. Because that's what we want. We want everybody to stay home. And I remember when I first got that question, how does it feel? And I didn't want to answer it. And I was like, how does what feel? And even though I knew what he wanted to hear, I didn't want to say it. I just felt bad. And he was like, how does freedom feel? And I was like, it just feels wonderful. And his face lit up and he was like, I knew it. And the thought of it now, and I didn't want to deny that to him. I didn't want him to not know that it does feel wonderful.
I'm a sports guy, so I'm always looking for key acquisitions. Who can I get that can really help Exodus grow? And Diana was my LeBron James. She is the embodiment of what I want Exodus to be. Strong, tough, yet forgiving. Once you've been incarcerated for so long, to breathe the air, to walk through Central Park, to look at just everyday life happening when you've been locked up 10, 15, 20 years can be the most rewarding and exciting thing one can imagine.
Your numbers, your fierce love of self and cosmos.
Hi, Julio, this is the parking lot.
Whew. I wasn't even here and I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying?
It does seem so long ago.
Yeah. Whole lifetime ago. I would love to say a prayer if possible. God, we thank you for just being able to be here at the moment, and thank Diane for her strength and all that she does. And may we never forget someone did lose a life here, and we are terribly sorry. May we move forward with our lives, knowing that we do everything we can today to honor not only the victim of this crime, but the many victims that suffered at our hands, or people that are coming home from prison. In your precious name we pray. Amen.